morning and happy Tuesday, 10 at 10. I'm your host, Richard Charpentier, and we're here every Tuesday answering questions submitted through Bakerpedia. And we take 10 minutes to answer all your questions. So without further ado, let's get started. First question we received is from someone asking about sodium metabisulfite. Which ratio of sodium metabisulfite should be used in biscuit or cracker production? For those who do not know, sodium metabisulfite is used as a reducing agent to basically relax the dough, similar to L-cysteine or glutathione in the production to mellow the dough. But the fact that it works maybe too well, it's recommended to be used at level of 0.03% based on baker's percent. So that is dosing is super important, as it could change the rheology of your dough and create other issues within your production. So this is the one you can use for cookies and cracker, but be careful in dosing it. Do not over dose, as you will create other issues within your production because of its functionality and how well it works. All right, next question. Somebody asking about how much sorbic acid would you use for flour tortilla and corn tortilla, and at one point in the production of tortillas would you add sorbic acid? Any other additives you recommend for tortilla production? Regarding sorbic acid can be used as well as fumaric acid. I've seen people use vinegar, which is acetic acid, which is similar. But one thing you need to understand in terms of how much to use is something to refer as the point, the pKa, at which the enzyme, the acid is more functional. So like in the case of sorbic acid, they're saying between 4.5 is sort of the optimal point, and fumaric is used preferably because it does not affect the yeast depending on what type of tortilla you're making with baking powder or yeast. So sorbic can be used, but it's about the finished pH also of your tortillas and where you are and how much would need to be added. Because sometimes if your pH is not right in the range where you need to be in order to preserve your tortillas, you're basically putting something in that's not going to really do much for you. But if you have any more or further questions, remember, when you go to the Bakerpedia website on bakery resources, there's access to consultant where you can go have consultant on a one-on-one 30 minutes or 1 hour to check your questions. So you get your private consulting session just for you, where we take more time than just a few minutes to try to answer that. Next question. Hi, what are the additives that make strong gluten from loose wheat flour? Don't know what gluten from loose wheat and what loose wheat flour means, and what you're referring strong gluten from loose wheat flour. So, and don't know your question. So if you want that to be answered, you can again resubmit it and try to be a little more precise on what you're trying to convey and what you're trying to learn, because I'm not sure how to additives to add to make strong gluten from loose flour. So sorry, I wish I could help you out, but can't. So next question. How long can I ferment the rye white dough for pizza in a refrigerator? And as I know that rye flour has poor gluten quality, so yes. So it's all depending, but as you're saying, rye white dough for pizza. Rye dough it's usually not done at 100%. I've seen it done at 100%, but it takes a lot of it's going to be a denser bread. So if you're cutting a pizza, or you're making a rye pizza dough, and it's sourdough, I've seen people on rye fermenting it at the right temperature. It's about controlling the refrigerator. You can do it for 10, 12, maybe 24 hours. It's about not burning the yeast. And especially if it's a pizza, you're not looking for volume, you're looking more at that point for flavor. And if you're using rye, how much rye is in your formulation and what are you trying to achieve with the rye, because the more rye flour, the stickier it becomes, the more difficult it is to handle and work. So without knowing, I don't know, but if you're trying to extend your fermentation for flavor, keep at the right temperature. I would say between 50 to 55 degrees is always great. And I'm not sure, if you want to extend, but it's again, as I said earlier, on the Bakerpedia page, there's bakery resources with consultant that you can get on a one-on-one session. Something if you want to discuss further, I would definitely do that. Now, last question: how to do long shelf life soft bread? Please tell me. Thanks. How to do long shelf life? Well, how to extend the shelf life of soft bread comes in multiple ways. First of all, the question I always say for shelf life: how long of a shelf life? Where are you today? Let's say you get 2 days shelf life. You're trying to get to 12 days. So you're going to have to start with a good sanitation program in your plant to make sure there's nothing, that could contaminate your breads. What is the process at which you package? Are you packaging your bread? What temperature at which you package your bread? What kind of mold preservation system do you have in your breads currently? Do you have any enzymes to retard staling? What kind of flour are you using? What kind of formulation are you using? So all of the questions to get to extending your shelf life. Extending the shelf life of any bakery product doesn't come saying, I want to do it, done, I'm done tomorrow. It takes a lot of requirement. It takes understanding the formulation. It takes a good sanitation program, as mentioned earlier. It takes about training the people. It takes about understanding what packaging, and it takes about understanding what pH and environment, of your finished products you're getting, because that's what's going to be super important to determine what kind of shelf life you can get. So I hope it was very useful. Thank you very much again for listening to Tuesday 10 at 10. And you have a fantastic rest of your day. And I wish you all a happy baking day. Take care.